Okay.
Yeah. Hello. So what you see here, I'm just creating a new project by just clicking the new project button. And I'm gonna call this project lesson 3, right? This is our third lesson.
Mm-hmm.
I'll call it lesson 3. This one here shows you where this is gonna be stored um in your in your computer, right? That's what to
Right.
show you the exact
Is
location.
that not what's called your 5 parts, right?
Yes, that's your file path. So
Yeah.
if you see right here on this side,
Mm-hmm.
lesson 2 is in AWS upload slash
Mm-hmm.
lesson 2, right? So if I want things to be, pretty much similar, desktop, you can click on this one. It opens this over like this. It opens to select the path. You can either put the path right there or click there, and then you can kind of see the path. So right now, if you see on lesson 2, it says AWS image upload, right? That's the file that that
Mm-hmm.
we have, right? So I'm just gonna go here and look at the. Right now, it's putting me inside here. I'll go to the desktop. Right. So now inside the desktop, that's where I'm trying to look for AWS. This guy. You see this one?
Mm-hmm.
You see, that's where lesson 1 and lesson 2 are, right? So I'll say inside there, okay, right? But now I don't want to only be inside that one. I mean, it's still fine. I can create another folder in there. That's fine. So when I go to AWS image upload, inside there, that's when I'm going to create this project. Right? That's where my lesson 3 is. And the lesson 3 is it to tell you, you see, if you right click here
Mm-hmm.
and you say copy, you wanna copy the absolute part, right?
Yeah. Part reference.
Copy, yep, absolute part, right? I'm taking the absolute part.
Mm-hmm.
So now I've copied the absolute path. If I go on the file, you don't see my file screen, but I'll bring it here, over here, and then paste the path like that, and then enter. It takes me exactly to where lesson 3. You see that?
Mm-hmm.
So now, if I go one more to this one here, this is the one before. That's the folder 4, right? This
Mm-hmm.
is where my information is gonna be. My source is gonna be. My source is gonna be inside there. Right now it's empty. Why? Because we haven't created any of the file, right? So that's how I was just showing you that's how that is the file path. So now inside the source, you right click new Java class. Why do we create the source? Because SRC just stands for source code, because that's where you write
Right.
all your source code. And in Java, you are going to see another folder that is green, just like source, but written test. That's where you test. All these things that you write in code, you need to have a way to test it to see that it's actually working as it's supposed to. Those are what are called Java tests, right? That's a scope
Okay.
of lesson in front. So now we're talking about Java logical operators, right? That's what we're talking about today. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Okay. Enter. Now gonna create you see it's gonna create public class Java logical operator, right? If you can go here, back to the folder. If we go back to the folder right here, I'm just trying to show you to see what happened. We go back here,
Mhm.
back to lesson 3, SRC, inside there. Look at that, Java logical operator.
Ah,
You
because
see?
now we created it from the
Yes, now
source.
we created it. Yes. We created it from the source. And if you go one behind, you see it's inside source,
Mm,
right?
that
So
makes sense.
whatever class we create here, a file, we're
Mhm.
just creating, think about this way, we're just creating files that are exe files, meaning the executable files that you can either run those files using using the IDE, or you can run them using the command line. Right.
Okay.
So just know that at the top of your head that whatever we're doing, we're just creating files here and putting them in our actual computer, right? So what's the name of the method
Okay.
that we use to write things inside?
The method
Yes, that we use to write things inside. That Java keys.
CSVM.
Yes, PSVM, right. So now, now, how about comments? If I want to make a line comment, what do I do?
//
There you
double
go.
slash.
Nice. So now, when I talk about assignment, right? Assignment
Mhm.
operators. Operator. So the word
Are we
itself,
talking about assignment or logical?
uh, we're talking, last week we covered arithmetic, right?
So we have arithmetic, we have assignment, we have logical, and we have
Yes.
comparison. Which one are we
Yes.
doing today? Is it assignment or logical you are in now?
Right now, we're going to do assignment operators. And then after that, after assignment operators, we're going to do logical, and then we're going to do compare. And we'd have covered
Okay, that's why I'm confused. So I guess my question is, you see the top one that says on number 1, we created the logical class, right? Are we not supposed to, instead of coming
logical
down and saying
operators.
assignment? Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I just messed up in the naming there, but it's fine. We can start with logical and then go to assignment. Not a
Ah, okay,
yeah.
I guess my head is trying to blow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good catch. Good catch. So the logical operators, right? But I don't want us to talk about logical operators before we talk about assignment. Let's talk about assignment operators. So what I'll just do is, so right click here, you can click
Give me 1 minute,
refactor.
please. My dog, give me 1 minute, buddy. My dog ran out chasing people.
Okay.
1 minute.
Okay. That so mistake happens sometimes when you're coding, right? So
Right.
this is a perfect example to illustrate it. So I've called this class Java logical operators, but that's not what I want to do right now, because this should be among the last topics. This should be among the last topics for me to talk about. I want to talk about the Java assignment operator. So now, how do I change this? You just right click. You see, I went to the name, double clicked on it, right click. Then I say refactor, rename. You see that?
Ah,
And then in the rename, I can go in there and instead of and change where I said logical, say assignment.
Got you. By the way, the lesson one, you
Mm,
see on that 5-part lesson 3 that you have,
mm.
I didn't change my own. I just left the lesson one. I'm just keep putting everything we've learned under it. Is that okay, or I need to be creating new project just like you're doing?
That's fine, so that you have your things in one place. That's all right.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm. As long as they all have different demarcations, right? That you know this is for this is for this is for that. Yep. So if you see what I just did, I refactored and I didn't have any issue, right? Java
Yeah,
assignment
that's awesome.
operators. So now, sometimes if you want to do it the other way, you press Control F6.
So what?
You highlight it. If you are on Windows, you press Control, you press Shift F6. It gives you the ability to, it gives you
Control S shift.
Control F6, yes. No,
6,
shift,
like number
no,
6, right?
Shift F6. Shift F6.
Shift X. X like
No, no. Shift F6. Remember, on top of your
shift
keyboard, you have
Shift F.
F1,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
F2,
Oh,
F3,
okay,
F4,
okay.
F5, F6. So it's
Got it.
Shift F6.
Shift F6. Okay.
Yeah,
Got
you
it.
highlight it first, Shift F6, then it gives you the ability to rename. Make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. Now, okay. So, what is an assignment? What do you think an assignment?
Assignment, like I said, that I read briefly, is assigning a value to a
Mhm.
variable.
It's what?
Assigning a value to a variable.
Assigning a value to a variable. Yes. Now, that's you say that very, very well, right? So remember when we say when we're in Java, you first say what type of variable it is, right? And it's int, and we're calling this x, right? And then we're assigning the value 10 inside x, and then we're closing. This is what by assignment operator we mean this equals.
Yes.
So when this equals sign is 1, that means you're assigning something to something. Right? You're assigning something to something. So right now, if I come here and I say int y is equals to 2, what I'm doing is I'm assigning y. I'm taking 2 and putting 2 inside the variable y.
Okay.
Right? So I'm assigning a value to the variable y, right? The same if I say a string name is equals to alpha, right? It's still the same here. I am assigning alpha, the value, into this variable name, right? You see that? So I'm assigning it like that. So another way, other examples of assigning is this, if I say now x plus equals to 3, right? So now I am taking the value of x that I created here, and I am assigning a 3 to add 3 on top of that value. You get that?
Okay. Yeah, got it.
So now when I print that, when I print X, right? When I print X, you're going to see something when I print X.
Give 13.
Right now X is 10, right? I have
Yes, you give it
reassigned
13.
another value of X. So basically, what's happening here is I am assigning a value to the variable. That's why it's called an assignment operator, right? You see, it becomes 13,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
The same if I say X minus 3. If I run this,
Should say 7.
and remember the arithmetic operators that we used?
Yes.
Remember the arithmetic, all the arithmetic signs that we use, we can use them in the assignment operators too. So I can say X times equals 3. This is the same thing as saying X is equals to X times 3. This is the same way of saying X is equals to X minus 3. Right, so this, what you see X is equal to X minus 3, it's just the same as saying X is equals to X plus equals to 3. So X plus equals to 3 is the same way
Same
as
thing
saying,
as X is equals to X plus 3.
exactly, right? So whatever sign that you get here, it's just the same way. This is a shorter way of saying this, right? This is a shorter way of saying this, right? So if you wanna, get the remainder, remember the modular sign, the one that we were talking about.
Yes.
Basically say X modulus 3 is the same way as say X modulus 3. X is equal to X modulus 3, right? X and 3 is the same way, and or we're gonna talk about those ones later, right? So why am I showing you this? This is important because we have been assigning things all the time, right? When I said create a variable code name, you are assigning this variable, this value to the name,
To
right?
the variable. No, yeah.
And when you say int age is 2 years old, right? You were already assigning, you're using 1 equals,
Value
you're
2.
basically assigning the value 2 into the integer variable age. You get that? So that's what assignment operators are, right? They are assigning values, right? They are assigning values. Yet when we were talking about arithmetic operators, that's when you had to say, something like, in this case, you have your X, Y set up. You'd say something like, printing X plus Y, right? Why? Because you're doing the arithmetic, right? You basically do like in sum. You can call it whatever it is. In answer is equals to X plus Y, right? X plus Y, right? Why? This one here is arithmetic. We're adding the value X and the value Y together, right? But here we're assigning the value. Here we're assigning the value Y X to 10. Here we're adding the values of X and the values of Y.
Got it.
So adding is arithmetic. Assignment is just using 1 equal sign, right? So if I say things like, hey, create a variable code grade and assign the value 10, this is what I'm talking about. Right. I'm talking about you
Okay.
assigning the values. Do it make sense?
Say the last statement. Say if you say what?
If I say create a variable and assign a value to it, this is what I'm creating a variable and you're assigning a value.
Okay.
Okay. Now, we're going to talk about we've talking about assignment operators. We talked about arithmetic operators. What other operators have we made? Need to know them by head.
Okay, we have comparison and we have logical.
Yes. So, now we're going to do comparison operator,
Okay.
right? Mhm. So for comparison operators, I'll just come here, create a new class. I'll call it Java. Comparison operators, right? This is the comparison operators. So now, I'll put the PSVM method so that we easily write the code inside, right? And this is Java comparison operators. What do you think these ones are?
I've not really read it, but looking at the word comparison might probably be you compare maybe two variables.
Yes, yes, yes. Clap hands, clap hands. Good job, good job. That's what a comparison operator does. Its job is to compare between the two variables, right?
Okay.
Right. And there is a statement that you use when we are comparing. And this statement is called an if statement. What do you think an if statement means?
Not sure.
Logically, let's just think of it logically.
Logically, like
Yeah.
if I mean, like in the English regular language, you can just say if. Do you think if we do this,
Mhm.
what if we do it, what if this happens? Something like that. I'm not sure. Right.
Mhm.
Or you say you're going to this, I'm going to the store, but what if my gas finish and I can't make it to the store? Something like that.
Yes. So if your curry is finished and you say something like, if the curry is finished, I want you to go to the store, right? So for you to do those things in code, what you need, what you really need, the most of the important thing you need a condition, right?
Right.
Like if a condition is this, I want to do that, right? We're gonna have a total topic of the if statement on themselves, but I needed to show you an example of where we use that. So the if statement, just like English, this is how you write. You write if like that, right? And then you put brackets, right? And then whatever the response you want, you're gonna put it inside the curly braces to show where this condition starts and this condition ends, right? And inside this brackets, the first one, that's when you put your condition, right? So let's do this first. Before we look into this, we're going to assign a variable, integer, x, and we say is equals to 10, right? And we say y, int y is equals to 2. Int y is equals to 2, right? This is just the basic things that we've been doing, right? I'm assigning the value 10. And when you read code, by the way, code is read from left to right. So basically we're saying 10 has been put into the variable X and 2 was put into the variable Y. You see that?
Got it.
So
Even
now
though you write from left to right, you are reading it from
when we're writing, we start from right? From left to right. When we're reading, we read things from right to left. It was a trick I picked up. If you read it like that, it's easier to read. So instead of saying X is equals to 10, you're basically saying the value 10 was put inside the variable X.
Okay.
So now, if both of your variables are going to be integers like this, you see, if both of your values are just going to be integers like this, there's something that there's a trick. There's a small trick that I used to use. There's a small trick I used to use. And I think it will help here, but I don't know if it's going to confuse. Okay. You see what just happened? So I put these guys on the same line and I separated them with a comma, not a semicolon, right?
Oh, okay.
So this is like a smart way because X is an integer, Y is an integer, right? So because I didn't put a semicolon here, if you put a semicolon here, you now have the computer stops from there.
Have an error.
Yeah, but if you put a comma to separate X and Y like that, and then close it at the end, the computer knows that means Y is also an integer. X is an integer, Y is an integer also.
So if you come down and just say, so if you do that on line 10 or 11, it's gonna get an error instead of putting it on line 9.
If you put Java doesn't care about space, right? Even if you do this, it should work. Java will read this
so
line.
that's what I was
it will read this line and then it will continue up until it sees the semicolon. That's when it's going to close.
What if you don't put a comma after 10? Will you get an error?
Yes, if you don't put a comma after 10, the computer won't know what you're talking about. You see, it doesn't understand that. But comma, you're basically trying to say, hey, I have like 3 variables. If I have Z is 2, right? I can even say Z is equals to 2, like that.
That makes sense.
And it will still work. This is just a cleaner way. Yes, this is just a cleaner way of saying, I would have said int X is equals to 10, because I've used X already. So let me say int N is equals to 10. It's the same way of saying I'll come down here. Sorry. And then I'll come down here and say int is A is equals to 2. I'll get down there and say.
So let me get it. So with the comma, you're probably shortening the processes of putting integer every time.
Yes, because the comma does not close it. It just says go to the next, and it says Y is on the next line. Go to Z, and it sees also Z. And all of those things are in line with the value integer. So it means all of them are integers. You can only do this if the variables you are creating are all same type.
Got it.
Yeah. So instead of wasting 3 lines, you can do it easier. Right. So
Makes
this is
sense.
just to make your code pretty clean, right? Instead of coming int n 10 in the, you can just say int n is equal to 10 comma a is equal to 2 comma m is equal to 4, right? This and this are just exactly the same thing.
Okay.
So whatever way you want to write it, right? So I'm gonna use the way on top just so things look clear, right? So now when you're writing an if statement, you use if. So code is funny because it literally speaks English to you. And then all these statements, they always come with curly braces, I mean parentheses, to show the values you are trying to put in there, right?
Okay.
Inside your parentheses. And then you follow with the curly braces. These ones show the start and the end of what is inside here. You see that? So now to use the comparison operators, now that's when you say X, for comparison operators, that's when you say X is equal to Y, right?
Equal, which is the assigner operator.
Equal, now equal is assignment, right? We say X is equal is assignment. But to change this from assignment to comparison, you add another equals.
Okay, so it's the double equal, we'll change it from assignment.
Yes. So now what we are basically checking is if X is equals to Y. Right? And then in here, we'll put a condition of what to do if X is equals to Y. Right? I can say here something like, I can say something like, go to the market, right? Go to the market. Right. So what am I saying? I'm saying if X is equals to Y, go to the market, right? And then if I run this, my comparison operator, nothing will happen because it's X equals to what?
I was trying to think that, okay, go to the market. There's no go to the market in the platform. So what is it gonna outprint?
Yeah, nothing. Why? Because is X equal to what? What is X?
X is 10, Y is 3.
Is 10 and 3 the same?
No.
Yeah, but let me change Y to 10 like this. Huh? Right? Now, let me run this again. And look at what it's going to print. You see what is printed?
Okay. So you can actually outprint something else. So if X is, so you're just comparing variable X and variable Y. So whatever you outprint might be different. It doesn't matter.
Yes, I'm just comparing. Whatever I print here might be anything I want. I can say, go and cook very nice jollof rice.
Say outprint jollof, Nigerian jollof.
I can say Nigerian jollof. Let me say best jollof. is Nigerian.
You put Ghana.
Yeah. The best jollof is
Now you did
Nigerian
okay.
jollof.
You put Ghana jollof.
Then I run this. Right. When you run this, what it does, the computer will come here, it will look for this condition. And it does that by looking at this sign here. And what is this sign doing? The sign is basically saying, hey, can you compare the X variable and the Y variable to see if they are equal?
Okay.
And then
So
the computer concluded,
equality in both of the
yes.
variables.
So the computer concluded that, oh, X is equal, X is 10, Y is 10. So what happened? Basically, these are primitive data types, right? So exactly where they are stored, the computer went and checked what's the variable that we have contained in X. And he said, there's 10. And then he went there and looked for Y. He said, oh, Y, there is 10. And then he said, yeah, so this means this is true. When I'm comparing X and Y, it's true. And then what does it do? It does this thing. However, if it's not true, there is this statement called else. It goes with the if statement. And else's job is to print in case it's not true.
Okay. So I will assume you will go back to line 11 to change one of the variables to, if you're doing the line 15, you go back to line 11 to change one of the numbers, maybe put like 5
Yes.
in Y.
Yeah. I'll
Then
do that.
then that will apply the number 17 to work.
You see? So Nigerian jollof is the best, right? So if I put this as good catch by the way, as 6 and run this, it's gonna check EFF. If X is if it's true that X is equals to Y, it will print this. Right?
Mhm.
But if it's not true, it will print this. Right. So that means if this is true, when you are comparing X and Y, the answer is either it's true or it's not true.
You got it.
You got it? Right. In this case, when we run this, the answer is it should, and it does not print both of them. It just prints one. Nigerian jollof is the best. You see that?
Okay.
Why?
Got it.
Because it said is X equal to Y, and it said no. Then it said, okay, I'll print this else statement. The else here just prints if this is not true.
Okay.
If this is true, the computer will never even look at this guy. Because it will come here, do the job, and it's done. Because it knows this if and else are actually related. So either one of them is correct. You get that?
That makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, but that's the interesting part of coding that I just took you a little bit ahead, but let's go back again. Our focus is on these guys, right? On the comparison. So equal means equal. This is equal to, right? And then if you want to check if it's not equal to, you use this exclamation mark and equal sign. So exclamation and equal sign basically means not equal to, right? So in this case, when you read this, saying if X is not equal to Y, then print best jollof is Ghana, right?
Okay.
Right.
Got it.
Now I'm going to run this. If I run this now, the computer goes there, line 13, and says, is X not equal to Y? And the answer is yes. Then it prints best jollof is Ghana jollof. You see that?
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So if X
And
is equal to print this, if X is not equal to Y, print this.
exactly.
So,
Yeah. So that's basically
okay.
that. And then now there's another one called less than. So you see the less than sign? No, the greater than
Yes.
sign. This
This
is
is
the
great.
greater than. Yeah. Here we're basically saying if X is greater than Y, right? So this one looks and sees the value of X and the value of Y and compares them and see which one is bigger.
Okay.
So in this case, it sees that is X greater than Y? The answer is no. Y is 6, X is 10. So it just prints what is in the else statement.
Okay, wait. You say if X is greater than Y,
Yes.
but on line 11, X is really greater than Y.
Yes, is X greater than Y? Yes. So if X is bigger than Y, then it's gonna print best jollof in is Ghana jollof.
Okay.
So if I change this now to this one, how do you read this?
X is less than Y.
Exactly. We are comparing
since
between
X-
variables.
So, but since X is not less than Y,
Mhm.
you can just go to line 15 and say else print this. Print
Yes,
line 17.
so it's just gonna print line 17. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then another one is a less or equal to. Now it's checking a little range, right? It's checking if X is less or equal to Y. So it looks at two things. Is it less than or equal to Y? So is X less than Y or is X equal to Y? And if that's not true, it prints out best jollof. But if that is true, if that is true, it will print out best jollof is Ghana jollof. But if that is not true, it's gonna just go by default into the else statement and print line 17. The same way we have less or equal to, we have greater or equal to.
Okay, so go back to the less or equal to again. I missed that part.
Less or equal to.
So you said if X is less or equal to Y, so less or equal to Y. So how do you solve that again? I missed that part.
So this one is just comparing between X and Y, right? Now it says, is X less or equal to Y? X is 10, Y is 6, right? So it will look and say, is X less than Y? No. Then it will mean this is false. Then it will print the else statement. What do I mean? I mean that if X is 10, right? I've changed, X is 10, I've changed Y to 10. Right now, these ones are now equal, right? I'll show you an example. Right now, if I say is X less than Y, what do you think is gonna happen? Right now, I'm saying if X is less than Y.
Okay, so if X is less than Y,
Yeah.
then it's gonna outprint. You gotta go to F. Nigerian
Exactly.
jollof here. Yeah.
Why? Because X is not less than Y. X is actually equal to Y, right? But now, if I change this and I put an equal sign, less or equals to, and I run this, it's gonna check for both, is it less than or is it equal to? The last time you said Nigerian jollof is the best, right? Why? Because it's on the L side. Now, when I put the less or equal to sign, look at what it's going to print. Just give it 1 second as it's
I guess we'll do Ghana now. So is either of them, is either if it's less or is either is equal to print this one. So if it's
Exactly.
equal to, then it still applies to it. So you can
Mhm.
ignore the less. Yeah, okay, I
Yep.
got it.
You see? Yeah, so that's why we use this guy, right? So less or equal to or greater or equal to, right?
Okay.
Are
Makes
we
sense.
together on that?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just gonna continue here with the logical operator. Now, the logical operators are my favorite, right? I'm just gonna use the same example. Right? So now we're just comparing X, Y, right? Now we're going to start by comparing now two sets of variables, right? We want to compare X and Y and Z. So we'll compare X to Y and also we'll compare Y to Z, right?
Mhm.
So we'll say the same thing that we're saying. If X,
So we're in logical right now.
yes, right now we're doing logical. To not confuse you, I'll just copy this one. I'll open another class, Java class, and say Java logical operators, so that I don't confuse you. Now we're opening the logical operators. So I'll just paste that example that we had here. So now I'm trying to compare between all of this one, right?
Mhm.
So with the one that we're talking before, right? We're just comparing is X equal to Y, right? What if there's another
Right.
variable that we want to bring into the picture, like Z, to see if Z is equal to Y or to see if Z is equal to X, you know?
Mhm.
That's when the logical operators comes in. So we'll say something like if X equals to Y, right? That's our first condition, right? Now we want to check another condition, and Y is less or equals to, or Y is less or equal to, let me say Z.
Shut the door. Hey. Yeah. Oh yeah, go upstairs. Bye.
Yep. Can you hear me?
Sorry. So these kids that my wife brought here. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So now I'm comparing X, Y, and Z. You see that?
Mm-hmm.
So this sign, the and sign, that's how we say and.
Okay.
Right. This means and. So here, what are we doing? We are saying if X is equal to Y and Y is less or equal
So we're comparing
Z.
so So we are comparing three variables together.
Yes.
That will
And
give us more like a logical thing.
yes, a logical thing, right? And the most important thing here is that for this to be true, both comparisons should be true. What do I mean by that? For it to print best jollof is Ghana jollof, right? It should be true that X is equals to Y, and it should be true that Y is less or equal to Z. Otherwise, it will
Okay.
say false. So if only one side of the argument, which is X is equal to Y, is true, and Y is less or equal to Z is false, then the whole thing is false.
Got it.
Do I make
So
sense?
for that statement to be accepted or true, then whatever you're comparing has to be right.
Yes, the two things you are comparing should all be true.
Okay.
Right. So the answer for it to do something is gonna do whatever it does if both of them are true, right? But if one of them is false, like for example, in this case, X is equals to Y, right? This is true, right?
Right.
You see, this part is true, right? We agree on that. Right. Now, is this part true? Is Y less or
Say
equals to Z?
what? No, it's not true.
Right.
Because Y
Y
is not less than 2, it's not less than Z, and it's also not equal to Z.
Yep. So in this case, it's going to print what? The else statement.
Yes.
The only statement you agree on in this talk, that Nigerian jollof is the best. You see?
Got it. That makes sense. So you can leave when you're doing this, you can run two system out print at the same time. That's line 14 and line 17.
Yeah. Why? Because the computer will go there and check line 14. It won't even get to line 14 because if line 13 is false, it will jump to the else line 15. To show you this at work, let me show you something called a debugger, right? You click here, and then you see here, there's like a bug here, right? At the corner here, there's a bug. You see that? Oh, here when you press play, it will ask you debug or run. You see that?
Okay.
So when you click debug, to debug is to look. It will look at the code. Will look at you usually debug when you are having issues with your code to see where the problem is, right? So I am showing you the debugger right now. Why am I doing that? So that you see what I mean. Right? You see what it says on line 13. The check mark on that red dot means the computer is already looking inside that. You see that? All of those things the computer is giving you on the side. You see, it says X is 10, Y is 10, and Z is 2. You see that?
Yes.
Yes, it's showing you the values of X, Y that it has right now, right? So if you click, if you come this side, right, you have this code step over, and you have this code step into, right? And then this cursor move, and that. This is just a way to go into this thing. So I'll say F8, right? Did you see that? It skipped. It didn't. Did you see? It didn't even go in here. And then the system was done. So that's exactly how the system works. Let me show you again. it started here, right? If I say F8, that means it's gonna show me the path the computer took, right? So it read that statement and realized that it's not true, right?
Okay, then it
Because
jumped to
it jumped
15.
into the else statement and printed line 17. And then it closed the program. Did that make sense?
Okay. Yeah.
Now, let's change a Z to also 10, right? Right? Mhm.
It's probably
And-
gonna print. It's
and
probably
then-
gonna print line 14 in this case, because it's true.
Yes, you see, now if I press F8, look, did you see? It went inside. Why? Because
Inside line 14.
line 13 was true. X was equals to Y and Y was less or equal to Z. And then it went out of the program and then finished. You see that?
Gotcha.
And also code works from top to bottom. To show you this, I will start.
Okay.
Let me put this and start from line 8. I'm just going to debug from line 8, right? So you see, from line 8, it skips line 11. Why? Because it's a comment. Did you see that? It doesn't
Okay.
go in. And then it comes here now and looks at this one and then agrees on it. And then once it goes out of the system, and then that's about it. So this if else statement, its job is to give it a condition and to only do what is inside if the condition is true. If the condition is not true, it will do anything in the else statement. Right now, this is just a mini example, but in actual sense, right? Think about this thing as, we have an application that checks how old you are, right? And it will ask you, hey, give us your age. And in here, to check if your age is greater than 18, right? It will check if you are greater than 18 and if you are like capable of, you are not like somebody who to be, old enough to make a decision, and they need to give you access to the application, or else it will say, application denied, So that's when we use things like this, things when we're writing actual code.
This makes sense. So I learned if and else, then I also learned those signs equal, and also and. Then if this is this, y is less than or equal to, yeah, okay.
Okay.
Makes sense.
So another thing is this. Now, if you want to say or, this is what you use. It's a little tricky, but that's what you use. The two lines.
Okay.
So those two lines represent or. So this one just returns true, right? If one of the statements is true. For example,
And that.
This is when if one statement is true, it will print this, right? What do I mean by that? It's going to check if X is equals to Y. And then if X is equals to Y is not true, but Y less than or equal to X is true. Like, let me change this to 9, right? I've changed Y to 9. So is X equal to Y now? No, right?
No.
And then or, so these two lines means or, if Y is less or equal to Z. Is Y less or equal to Z?
Yes.
That's true. Then it's gonna
yes.
Then it's gonna print line 14.
Okay.
Right. So this one is different from and. And prints only when both of the
but can we say or y is less?
Give
or
me
equal
1
to
second.
X?
Give me 1
Okay.
second. Let me. Yes, so you can still see my screen?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So now there is an interesting one right now. So we're going to put this now. and say X. So we've used the and, right?
Mhm.
This is and. This is equal, this is or, right? Now, I want to show you another one. The last logical operator. It says X is equals to Y and Y is equals to Z, right?
Mhm.
You get that?
Yeah.
So now you can
Maybe you
put
should let me
this
see the
in.
answer.
You can put this in a bracket like this. I think this should work. Yep. You can put it in a bracket like that, and then you put this guy. Did you see what happened? What do you think I just did?
You put an extra bracket inside the bracket.
Yeah, that doesn't matter, but
Then you put,
there's
there's
this
a
sign I
sign in
put in.
front of.
What is this sign? What did you see this sign?
That sign means it's not.
Exactly. So what do you think that statement means?
It means if X is not equals to Y and Y is not equals to Z, so I believe that you go to line 17 to outprint the result.
Okay, so now is X equals to Y?
X is
Is
not
X
equals to Y.
X is 10, so that's not true, right?
Mhm.
Right.
And
So
And Y is not equals to
is
10
Z.
either.
Yes.
Z
So
rather, yeah.
that one is false, right?
Yes.
Yeah. But then, fun enough,
I guess my question is you have to on line 13, you're
fun
getting
enough,
two brackets.
look at what was printed. It said best
Why is
jollof
that?
is Ganache. Because the not sign gives you the opposite of what you'd have got, right?
Oh, okay. So if it's not this, then you print that.
Exactly. So right now, X is equals to Y, that's false. So line 13 is false, but that not sign flips it to make it true. So that's why it prints line 14. So the not sign is used to give the opposite. It gives here, you're asking for the opposite of what is inside here. Yes,
Got
you
it.
can use the brackets when you are doing logical operators like this. Because
Two brackets, correct?
yes, it's just a bracket inside another bracket. You're just chaining your condition to make it just clean, right? You can do
Okay.
without the condition, but if you remove the bracket, then it's gonna be harder for you to put this the sign not. You see?
Okay.
Yeah, you get it? Yeah. So
Got
that
it.
was just a way to make it clear. So whenever you see something like you are going to see a lot of things like you know, like where people are using the not sign and the X, you know, like the not sign
Okay.
and the X. When they're talking about variables, right? They're basically sometimes they're basically saying we wanna check if it's not true, right?
Mhm.
And all that, just for you to make it easier. All right. So all these things that I'm showing you over here, do you have any questions first?
So far, it's very explicit, but of course, I'll still need to go back. Like I made my notes, I still need to go back and put in my own words for memorable sake. Yeah. So far, I followed.
Yep. Okay. That's very good. Right. Yeah, that's very, very good in this case. So all these things I am teaching you, just know that I'm teaching you the letters. We're going to use all of these ones when we're writing what are known as algorithms, right? Why? Because
Okay.
with algorithms, we're taking all the one things that you're learning from one, and just combining,
Mm-hmm.
right,
Together.
to build something, right? It's important to understand these things because these are like the basics, right? Yeah.
Okay.
So, in your own words,
Sure.
can you go over what we just did, what we just looked at?
Okay. So in my word, you want me to talk about logical?
Mhm.
Okay, so in my own word, logical is basically comparing, you can compare two or three variables together. Like you said, if y- like the examples you gave, which entails or comprises of the equal sign, also less than equal sign, or it can even be greater than equal sign. So from what you did, you said integer x is equals to 10, y is equals to 9, and z is equals to 10. Now, you said earlier that I can put everything in one line, but the comma has to be there so you don't get an error. So moving forward, you said if x in line 15 is equal to y, you can use the two slash, which means or you can also use and you know, just to differentiate or explain what you're doing. So for the statement to agree, any of those numbers has to be that is attached to the integer has to be correct, meaning that if x is equal to y and y is equal to z, then it will outprint the results. For instance, if x is equals to 10, or let me put another number. If x is equals to 7 and y uh, is equal to z, which
Mhm.
can be 4, then we
Mhm.
are print that result. However, you put a exclamation, I don't know if that's the sign is exclamation, that you put it in front of
Yep.
x, that if
Mhm.
it's not equal to, if x is not equal to y and y is not equal to z, you just print line 16. Mean that means even if none of them is equal to each other, just print that line. That's what that exclamation sign is for. So so far that's what I understood about logical.
Okay,
Going
that's
back to
good.
comparison, you're just comparing those numbers and variables together. That's what comparison shows. So I think I'm fine in those.
Okay, that's good. Yep. So, so I am going to send you something. Because after this one, we're going to look at string, right?
Okay.
We're going to look at strings, which are operators. Mm,
Now, when you were doing it, I didn't have time to write it on my code, like on my IntelliJ because I wanted to follow you back to back. So, which I did that last time, but this one, since this one is deeper, I just watching you to make sure I'm following so I don't lose track. Mm.
Don't worry, I knew it. Mm. So I'm gonna send you listen. Okay, so yeah, so right now, take a few minutes break. I'm going to stop the recording here.
Okay.
I'm going to stop the recording, and then I'm going to send you an assignment that you need to work on when you're sharing your screen. It's an assignment on the Java operators. Try to do it. It's everything we've been talking about today, and using some stuff that we spoke about first and the second day. So go
Okay.
ahead and try that as you're sharing your screen. So the next
Okay.
recording
So I
we're
should take a
gonna
break. I should
take
take
a
a break.
break.
Then once I'm back, I'm gonna do the.
Yep. And then I'm going to send you the new link. And then, and also in your email, you are going to receive the Java questions that you have to work on so that you have the operators in your code. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay,
That's
so
fine.
stopping the recording.